Welcome to another Nightmare Zone guide. You've probably seen about 1,000 of these released, but here's another one. This one is all about simplicity and efficiency, and I'm not going to overload you with information. So sit back and enjoy the guide. Alright, so where is it located, you're wondering? It is located right above Yanille. That is the southwestern portion of Gielinor. Now that we've talked about location, let's go ahead and jump into 3 different ways to get there. The first one's going to be that Yanille teleport tablet. You also have a house portal to Yanille and a portal nexus in your house. Next, we're going to talk about the fairy ring. That's code CIQ or CLS. Both are about the same distance away. And last but not least, we're going to talk about the minigame teleport. That's a 20-minute cooldown, and you had to have been there at least once prior. Those are just 3 out of the many different ways. Let's go ahead and jump into the actual requirements. 5 of these need to have been completed. So go ahead and pause the screen, do some cross-referencing just to make sure you're eligible to actually go to the Nightmare Zone. Next, we're going to go ahead and jump into the 3 different modes. We have Practice, which gives you no XP or experience, so it is completely pointless. We have Endurance and Rumble. The only difference is Endurance goes on till you die, 1v1 style, and Rumble is multiple bosses, which is just convenient. Now that we've talked about the 3 different modes that there are, let's go ahead and talk about that cost per dream. Now, quick update for you, if you do have the quest cape, it will be a little bit cheaper, but mainly we're going to be focusing today on a custom hard rumble. That's about 26,000. Let's go ahead and jump into the reasons why we're doing this. Rewards, we have the basic on screen, which is the resources. You're not going to use many of these on the main account. The iron does have some use, but that's another video for another day. What's important is the actual imbues. It's going to be another reason why you're showing up, and that's going to require points that you're going to get per kill inside the Nightmare Zone. Now that we've gone over the actual imbues themselves, let's jump into the potions. I'm only going to be talking about the Overload and Absorption today, but we're going to be using points to buy both of those. Overload just taking away 50 HP to boost stats, and Absorption absorbing damage. We're going to go ahead and jump into the recommended skills. This is kind of the baseline. I imagine you could do it for lower, but I wouldn't. I'd actually recommend doing it around 80, but this is kind of the bare minimum. That's going to be 60 attack, strength, and defense, 51 hit points, and 43 prayers. So in your first run, you can pray melee, and if you have other bosses selected that don't only use melee, you have options. Now that we've had a chance to talk about that, let's go ahead and jump into that gear and inventory. For the first run, the preferred gear is going to be anything that is prayer boosting, because we will need to use prayer pots to earn points to buy absorption and overloads. As you can see, I have a best on left to right, being the worst in terms of prayer bonuses and DPS, because we still need to get kills along the way to actually obtain those points, and the faster we get the kills, the more points per hour, the more efficient we're going to be. So go ahead and take a second to pause the screen if needed, and we're going to go ahead and jump into the second run and what that's going to look like with actual absorption potions. So preferred is going to be that Dharrok Gear that has a passive bonus. The lower health you are, the higher it hits, and anything DPS boosting at this point is really going to be the route we're going to take. Something that I do want to note is those absorptions do actually lower your HP for you, and the rock cake you're going to bring or the locator orb is also going to do the same. Let's go ahead and actually jump into the inventory side of things. On your first run before absorption points or potions, we're going to actually want to run the super combat and prayer. More prayer the better, but super combat is just another damage enhancer. In terms of after we obtain this absorption through some points on our second run and some overloads, we're going to run about a 1-to-4 ratio. If you want to AFK longer, side note, don't use overloads because it does return 50 points after 5 minutes. Alright guys, let's jump into the actual mode itself, and let's talk about why you want to do this mode. This mode is going to give you the most points, increase HP, and increase the damage they do, but not increase their defense. Now you're thinking to yourself, what bosses would we want to activate? And you know what? You're right for that. So let's jump into the fastest XP bosses and their quest on the right. Take some time. That's what I would activate for fastest XP. Now, in terms of actual points per hour, it does get a little complicated. So here's a rough balance. I'm not actually going to go over the fastest points per hour because it's kind of all up to the armor, the way you're doing it, your method. There's a lot of technical stuff that goes into actually calculating the points. All right. Let's go ahead and actually jump into a run of Nightmare Zone. First things first, we're going to go ahead and pay him. So we need to put money in the coffer. It does cost money per dream like we showed earlier, so let's go ahead and deposit for our custom hard rumble. Next, once we've paid him, we're going to run over and grab some overloads. Let's do a nice 1-to-4 ratio in terms of overload potions. So I'm going to get out about 26 to 28 doses, and then the rest are going to be absorption. Now, side note, if you want to make this more AFK, don't use the overload potions because it will give you 50 health back every 5 minutes. So if you want to make it more AFKable, just bring your rock cake or your locator orb and just bring absorption potions, and you can actually sit there the entire time without worrying about getting that 50 back and having to redrop it, so you're not wasting absorption potions. Let's go ahead and jump into the actual boss portion of what bosses to select. If you did rewind the video and pause it, you can see that there are some fast rates and then there's a balance. I have my own personal preference for my level character that has 99s of what I like for high points per hour, so it's not recommended that you follow this guide right here per se versus the one we posted earlier with the fastest XP gains. Now that we're actually in here, let's go ahead and begin. I hit my overload, which boosts my stats, and then I went ahead and hit my rock cake so I could get down to 1 HP. Now, some side note for you, that overload will take 50 HP away and it can kill you in the dream, so that is something I'd be careful of. Now we're going to go ahead and slap a whole bunch of absorption potions, get that up to 1,000 absorption, and we can begin the AFK process. Now, like I said earlier, if you want to make it more AFK and you don't want necessarily the stat bonuses, you could bring super combat, or you just no overload at all and bring just absorption, and you can AFK much longer. A little tip and trick that you can actually do to keep your HP from going up is turn on your quick parade or rapid restore, and every time at the top right you see that bar about to fill where your actual HP is, you can spam rapid restore right before one time, turn it on and back off, and that'll actually reset the HP gain so that you don't gain any XP. So you're not having to hit your locator orb, you're not having to hit your rock cake, and you can keep this even more AFK-able with 1-2 clicks minimum every 3 to 4 minutes, which makes this super convenient, especially if you're working, you're doing whatever you need to do. You just need some points for the Slayer helm imbue, the ring imbue, or you just need some XP just to kind of grow your account as a whole. Now that we began that AFK process, go ahead and pull up some Netflix, pull up some YouTube, watch another one of my guides. Let's sit back and relax. If you need to leave the dream at any point in time, there's 2 ways to do so. You can run over to the potion on the wall, hit the potion for a quick exit, or you can die. It is a safe death for everyone but Hardcore Iron Man. Hardcore Iron Man unfortunately would lose its status, but for everyone else you do not lose items. The only thing you lose is the money that you paid for that dream and whatever potions you used in the dream. But I hope you enjoyed the guide. I hope you like it. I hope you get some great XP rates, and if you need different bosses or want to experiment some more, feel free. There is all preference based. There's probably some actual math that breaks it down, but for now what I've shown you is some of the fastest average rates. So again, if you like it, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next guide.